to call us to order at 4:03 p.m. I assume that you all saw the agenda, which is really just a workshop today. Is there a motion to accept the agenda?
I'll make it. Sure.
So motion made by Jay, seconded by Don. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hello, Catherine, and we are just accepting the agenda for today.
Great, thank you.
Sure, and then we will move right into our work session. So goal of today is to come up with a maintenance plan that we can recommend to the Board of Trustees and try to get budget numbers for an inclusive package, and we'll also do that first week in September. Is that correct? So we have just over a month to work on it, which should be plenty of time. And then the work that we're doing, will also help us as we develop the parks master plan. So I think I would like to start just by running through the inventory of what we think collectively is our park system and what those places are. And I'm not very good at multitasking on my laptop, but I'm going to try to share my screen and to get us into OneNote. So if I go off the rails or you can't see what I'm doing or you can't hear me or something, somebody shout or text me. So I think I'm sharing my screen with you now. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's coming through.
Okay, so let's go ahead and just go through the parks. So we have Gazebo Lake Park, Squires Park, Memorial Park. We have the Tropical Garden. I'm not sure if these are correct names or not, but that can all become part of the work product.
Pool Park.
What else do we have here?
Pool Park.
Does the town actually own the land? The town doesn't actually own the land on the eastern side of town, but I wonder if we should list that. The approach to Green Mountain.
What property is that, Jay?
I'm thinking of the ground just outside of the town boundary that has the town signs. The welcome to Green Mountain Falls. Perhaps we should not list that now, but might come in later. Mountain Road, welcome. Yeah, I don't think that's maintained by anyone, and that's why I bring that up.
Right. I think it's a good idea to have it here. I sort of consider that a trailhead, although maybe it's really not. But I don't know. Do we list all trailheads here? Or do we focus specifically? I think we focus specifically on the parks here.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, there's that MacArthur Park that's up on Iona. It's town land, but I think it is maintained by some individual that I don't know. Have you seen that? It's just a little sliver of land that I guess the story is it was a maintenance guy's mom back in the day, and he has a memorial for her there.
Okay, that's not where Angels
No.
Trail sits,
It's
right?
Scott and Iona Avenue intersection.
Well, there is no Scott Street, but It's on the other side of Lonesome or the White Dove Hollow. There is someone that comes and puts Christmas decorations up on it during Christmas, and someone every once in a while trims it. So it's on town property. That is town property.
Okay.
So that sounds like a similar thing to Triangle Garden, although we know who's maintaining it now, but it'd be good for us to get record of that.
True, exactly.
And also Angels Park. I mean, there's a trail that's built. It's on a town right away.
And remember where that is?
Angels Park is between Hondo and Iona. Is that right, Nancy?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
actually, it's called Angel's Trail.
And yeah, okay.
Wasn't it
Those
one time
Angels
called
Trail.
Angel's Rest?
What?
Wasn't it one time called Angel's Rest?
I don't know.
Okay, we'll just say Angel's Trail. But it actually is a very nice little walkway.
There is it's more than trail in my mind because there's a property and that could be maintained.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a right of way.
Yeah.
Any others? We can always come back and add to this list if we think of any others between.
How about Forest Park or Garden of Eden Park?
I mean, absolutely do think so. I think maybe those are falling under trails. But I think it's good to get everything listed here and then dissect it and put it into the right categories.
Yeah. Well, especially things like weeding and cleaning out noxious weeds in Garden of Eden. That's not truly a trails issue if you're just working on the trail because it's off to the side and on town land, but it has a big effect on the viability of that area.
Although that's what we did at the last trail day.
Yeah, that's why I thought of, even if the friends wind up working it, having that acknowledged as one of the things that is important to the town is worthwhile.
True.
Can I double check, make sure I understand? Squires Park, is that the official name of the flag park of the businesses?
Yes. Black Hole Park is Squires Park.
Yep. Got it. Thank you.
So I'll do that so that we are, so we're noting multiple names and that gives us something else that we can work on clearing up.
Right.
Okay, so then for the purpose of our maintenance plan, do we want to, and this is an assumption, you guys tell me what you think. I would assume that Garden of Eden, Forest Park, and trail type situations are not part of the maintenance plan, or they're a separate subcategory.
I would say a separate subcategory.
Mm-hmm.
I think what we need to concentrate on are the public parks that are in town.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's worth listing these here, but saying we're going to concentrate on these others.
Yeah. And that's originally what I was thinking. And now I'm sitting here having a little bit different thought is if we are going to make a budget recommendation for parks, shouldn't we make a budget recommendation for trails at the same time? And maybe it is good to have these.
Yeah, that's
or at
true.
least go through the process and ask and make sure that our trail request gets acknowledged this year.
That's true. That way we can break down that 4,500 or whatever the amount is. We can sort of itemize it a little bit more as far as what would be needed on the trails. But the Friends group also does trail inspections. So we'll be getting that probably the end of, at our next meeting in August also. That could help with that, probably the future budget input.
Yeah. Quick question for you, Jesse. The Mountain Road Park, which has the art in it and location, the location that had the that's in which the Theater Works people played this year. That's private under HGMF.
Correct.
Okay, so that maintenance is already taken care of.
Correct.
Okay.
Mhm. So, we'll assume that everyone agrees on this list, and then, has everyone seen a copy of the current maintenance contract?
I've seen it.
No.
It would be good to go through that probably. It probably need to rewrite it or rewrite it before the next approval cycle.
Yeah. So I have a copy of this and I can email it out. Is it up on the screen now?
No. Oh,
No.
this, your list?
The
Your list is.
No, the maintenance agreement.
No.
This is where I don't get along well with Zoom because I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, I think Ron.
That's okay, but I can email it out, and it basically, I'll just read it to you to let you know the format. So May through September, mow, weed whack, grass and weeds in the parks to be performed weekly or biweekly, depending on the season and conditions of the grounds. Rake and remove goose droppings as needed. Clean and maintain tennis and pickleball court. April through June, initiate fountain operation, refresh the system, and provide occasional basic fountain maintenance. Flush and repair sprinklers and turn on for the summer. Fertilize the grass. Apply the goose repellent 6 times per for the season is what was done in the contract. July, trimming shrubs, bushes, and small trees as necessary. And so this is an okay format for a contract. I just think that, well, no, it didn't happen. Number one. Number two, let's specify. Let's get a little bit more specific with it. Since it's not happening, let's get more specific in hopes that it does.
Well, I think the parks specifically need to be named and what we want done on each park and the expectation of each park. Because I think Ron had a really good point at the last meeting is that expectations weren't put in the contract or even a, measure of success or how is it being done or, that type of thing. So I think, just going through like Gazebo Lake Park, what exactly do we want done in Gazebo Lake Park? How often do we want it done? This as needed and, it needs to be a little bit more, have a little bit more teeth to it, I feel. And then, there's specific things for each park that are different. Because I was walking down on Gazebo Lake Park and, where the really short grass is, it's getting invaded by some other kind of vegetation that's going to take over that really short grass. So that needs to be mitigated before all that really nice short grass is taken over. So there's things that would apply to Gazebo Park that won't apply to Squires Park, that won't apply to Pool Park. So I think we need to go through each one of those parks and just specifically brainstorm what we as a committee see needs to be done.
Yes, agreed.
So I think that we can take that generalized maintenance contract that we just talked about and then add specifics for each park. So let's just start working on that, starting with Gazebo Lake Park. I'm going to throw out there that the weekly goose repellent,
Absolutely.
because that is what's causing the short grass, and the other invasion is that the geese are eating the roots of, or destroying the roots of that grass. So fertilization is already on there, but I think that, what else do you want to add here, Nancy?
I would say getting rid of invasive plants, because I was walking down there this morning and pulled up 2 or 3 mulleins. You know, just mitigating the plants that we can specify as being invasive, and just, you know, weeds. Yeah.
Yeah, they're really nasty. They, as you said, they're going to take over that park real quickly. In Gazebo Lake Park, as it stands, we have a lot of gravel. Returning gravel to the this is a short-term thing that will not be necessary after the ADA work is done, after the pathway is ADA compliant, but returning gravel to the gravel pathways would also be useful.
Well, and obviously the goose poo removal.
You know, which really, if we're doing the goose repellent, the goose poop removal will go away.
Yeah. Jesse, you may want to go back up to that first line, weekly goose repellent, and going back to the core statement, Gazebo Lake Park, weekly review to include, because all those things are things that will need periodic attention. You know, as you said, the goose poo removal will not be necessary if the repellent is on there, but you know, those go hand in hand.
Okay. I will make it pretty later.
Yeah.
But yes, I think, but that's a good way to phrase it, is we're going to have a weekly checklist for the park.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's a good.
And then let's think about some target dates that are important, because I think we should have the pool of the park completely ready, operational, cleaned before Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
And that seems even a little late, but as a goal, it should be that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's the opening of the season. So then we're saying the maintenance is in place by Memorial Day. That means we're doing this weekly checklist starting by then at the latest.
Yeah. Yeah, you might want to say completely cleaned and maintenance in place Memorial Day to Labor Day. You know, give an interval. Say this is what we're expecting you to do. 3 months worth of close monitoring.
I'm just going to put this note because we didn't get the whiskey barrels were hidden behind the restroom and didn't get pushed out to the island until after green box. So just a note to get those out.
Yeah.
Another question is, if who's going to pay? I assume the town will be providing the goose repellent.
Back in a minute.
That type of, do we specify who provides not a consumable, but what's going to be used?
I do. I think after we get this checklist done, we should start assigning some monetary values to those lines. I'm pretty sure that I can guesstimate based on what we use at the green box properties, what the goose repellent would be. It's expensive. It sounds like a fortune to spend for 5 gallons, but it'll last most of the summer.
Okay.
What other things do we want for the fountain?
So Jesse, does that short grass need to be aerated every year? I don't know the maintenance on that type of grass.
It needs to be reseeded.
So it's an annual?
No, it's not an annual, but it doesn't spread.
Okay.
So once it gets worn down the way that it is, it's really not going to regenerate in that spot. So, what we do at Green Box is if we get a spot like that, we cut it out and just stick another piece of sod in there. But I think on that scale, maybe we are just reseeding. Reseed or.
Do you know the last time it was reseeded?
I do not. The Historic Green Mountain Falls Foundation paid to have that sod laid after the musical swings were installed. So that was probably eight or 9 years ago.
Okay. Just curiosity.
Yeah. I don't think that it's ever gotten in this poor of condition. But I think it's salvageable. Hey, Ron, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, sorry, I had a meeting go long. I couldn't get away from, guys. Sorry.
No, we all have things. So we're just going through and sort of brainstorming some specific things we'd like to see for the parks as we come up with this maintenance plan.
I guess the sprinkler system.
Absolutely. The drinking fountain.
Oh, that's right.
Hey, Gene, I'll call you back in after a while. I'm on a meeting. Thanks.
So I'm mentioning the non-lawn areas. So just pathways around on the Pantry side of the lake and around on the El Paso side of the lake where it just sort of doesn't get, there's no maintenance or little maintenance that we.
Yeah, I agree. Around those around the trailhead where I've been populating, it's just overgrown with weeds. And some of this, honestly, if we had a spring work day, some of this could be volunteer, that we could just, clean up things before the season, and then maybe clean up at the end of the season also. So if we could get a
Yes.
community work day, that would be great too.
Yeah, and Nancy, I was thinking the same thing. If we had a spring work day that we could sponsor, we could get a lot of this done ourselves or with community help. And as long as we get it, if we do that at every one of these places before the season gets going, even if we mowed that down and did it once in those non-lawn areas, that's going to make us look good probably for the whole season.
Right. And it'll be easier for the maintenance group to be easier to set goals for the maintenance group to say, okay, it's good now, keep it there. Instead of, well, it's a overgrown, irregular area. How are you going to deal with it?
Yeah, given a baseline, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's remember that at the end of the meeting when we're doing assignments, for someone to come in and sort of assign responsibility. Is this something we want the public works or the maintenance contract, however it happens? Is that something we want them to do, or is that something that we can do during a community work day?
And it could also be, we advertise, and just like the Triangle Garden, it was a bunch of volunteers who took it on and did it. So maybe some of this is adopt a park, and, we'd have to have some kind of MOU with them or contract, whatever per se, just so they know exactly the expectations of what would be done if they adopt a park. So there's different avenues we can go with this besides just, having a contract out to someone.
Yeah, I think a community work day I think we get an incredible amount of support and an incredible amount of work done
Mhm.
in a day.
Agreed.
What about, let's put tree trimming here. Even though that's vague. I'm going to put tree trimming and tree inspections. Meaning, let's put that on a list of things to say, okay, we need Colorado Springs Utilities to come and get these limbs away from the power lines. We need these tree branches cut to stay out of the flag. So at least there's an inspection and a recommendation.
Yeah. The other thing that falls under the inspection is the question of beetle kills. In the discussion about the stilling ponds and some of the other impacts to town, there were several commentaries on trees that are around around Gazebo Lake, and the bent tree that angles over the lake at 45 degrees and then goes up, got a lot of commentary. It's one of the things that it's a small, valuable tree, valuable for its aesthetics.
Yes.
Keeping an eye on those areas is very valuable, and that will.
So would you mind if I put here that we or significant?
That would be great. Yes.
And that's something that we do on the historic properties as well, as we have our signature trees
Very good.
treated, with anti-beetle and fertilized, and that cost about $30 a tree.
Uh-huh.
So I think we'd much rather see trees like that treated than to fall victim.
Right. That's a very valuable, very, very worthwhile, excuse me, very worthwhile step.
Anything else here on Gazebo Lake Park?
Got a couple of things.
What? Go for it, Don.
Trash. When is the trash picked up? Is it picked up on a regular basis? Or does it, wait till it start overflowing and somebody calls about it? I don't know. The other is the septic, the restroom, and what's the maintenance on the septic tanks? Is
Yes.
it something we need to do monthly while it's in use, or what? The other thing is, anybody has a question, just pipe up. I just have a list here on me. The pet waste. I'm telling you that even before the geese got there was dozens and dozens and dozens of piles of dog poop around the lake.
Agreed. Yes.
There's no receptacles like there are in other areas. I thought maybe that would help. The restrooms, that lock has been broke off that one of the restrooms. The deadbolt latch for weeks. Maybe nobody knows about it, but somebody needs to be looking at it. The hand antiseptic machine has been removed off the wall. So that should probably be in the schedule, because restrooms are pretty important, the public restrooms.
Hey, Don, did you, like the kudos and concerns of the town, has anyone, notified the town that the lock is broken and the bathrooms need to be serviced?
Did I?
Yeah.
No,
Oh, okay.
I don't have any faith in that system. Sorry.
Okay.
The split rail fence needs repairs. Somebody needs to inspect the playground equipment, make sure it's operating. There's nothing broken or sharp edges or anything like that. The picnic tables, they need repaired, overhauled. Benches, same thing. On the irrigation, obviously, the wind up and the shutdown, but also knowing how they're regulating the watering. I know, 2 years ago when I was in the park on Sunday mornings, it was flooded. So there was overwatering going on. Let's see what else. The Gazebo Lake Trail itself around there needs to be maintained as well. The little dispensers, the hook and fishing line dispensers, I don't know who maintains those, but that's another thing that should be on the schedule.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, I think that's all I have for now.
That's great. We can always come back up there if we miss something. Let's go ahead and move to Squires Park.
Thanks, Don. Well, mowing.
Even occasionally.
Mowing and trimming.
While we're going through that, is Squires Park, excuse me, Squires is the
Flagpole Park.
flagpole. We'll get to this later.
I know on our original 2022 goals, we had reseeding Squires Park. I don't know if it needs to be reseeded or if it's just overtaken by weeds and so we're just letting it go natural.
Yeah, so I don't think that we ever got the irrigation up and running there.
Okay.
I think all of the irrigation systems need to have somebody help me think, backflow printers installed, which is about a $3,000 expense. And I think the only one that we've successfully done that at so far is maybe Gazebo Lake Park.
Okay. I didn't even realize they had sprinkler system there.
Jesse, do you know why that's been open for so many months? That hole for the backflow preventer?
I do not.
Oh, is that on Pool Park? You mean?
I can start making a list here for Becky, and I can put these kudos and concerns from, or we can just send a list. I think it's friendly to just send her a list. So one of the locks at the restroom at Gazebo Park, the open hole for backflow preventer at Squire Park.
So Squire Park also has a open hole.
I thought that was on Pool Park
Yeah,
over by the fitness court.
I know there's one on I know there's one at Pool Park, but there's another one on Squires Park.
No, that's just where my head was at when Don said it. So
Good.
I didn't move.
You're forgiven.
Thank you. So it does. So we're gonna say flag and memorial, including lights, in good condition. It does seem like there's less maintenance and that park needs to be mowed less. And in general, I think the community workday will probably take care of this one and maybe one other mowing for the year. It is lighter maintenance, but again, we need to look at tree trimming and health. And some of these are obviously going to be at every location. So really now that we have sort of our weekly checklist for Gazebo Lake Park, we'll assume that many of those are going to drop down to the next. But specifically, is there anything else at that park that we'd like to see happen?
I don't think so. I think it's just really good that we're specifying each park by name because the contract didn't, and found out at the board meeting that Squires Park wasn't even part of the contract, even though there's no park names on the contract. So having it very specific will be very beneficial.
Can I ask curiosity how they differentiated between parks they supported and parks they didn't even notice,
They didn't.
but it wasn't covered?
Mm-mm.
Just saying parks didn't include all park property?
I guess not.
Okay,
We're going to learn from that mistake, Jay, and forgive it.
yeah, that's good.
We can't change it, right?
Yeah,
Nope.
I did want to make sure we understood it so that, and it looks to me as if specifying everything will give us that reference point.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Should we move on to Memorial Park?
That's a big question mark right now.
TBD.
Yep, because I'm not even sure how much of the park is going to be left after the basin. There's going to be some, but as far as knowing exactly, and it's going to be a little hard to make plans until we know after that basin goes in and then figure out what we have left.
And the commentary that that the town manager made about altering or modifying it as they go through it. Yeah, that'll change what what one decides to do. There may be some vegetation that gets added. There may be some plantings that get added. Those will need to be followed up, but we don't know right now.
I don't want to rush with this park. I think we need to be very mindful, and we need to get community input, a lot of community input, and just, you know, I get it, the big machinery is there and try to take advantage of it, but I think we just need to take our time and just make it wonderful and to refurbish it. So that's just my thoughts.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think that while the big machinery is there, that we flatten everything out, that make the safe site or the site safe, and that we really not rush to make some repairs because of equipment and leave people's voices out of what this is going to be. Now it may be blatant obvious to us when those basins go in that we have a very small patch to work with and it needs to be, you know, flattened for a lawn, and fine, let's do that, but it doesn't have to. It can be open for discussion at that point.
Agreed.
Who's responsible for the maintenance in the meantime? Are the contractors, or is the town to cut down the grass and the weeds in that area?
My assumption, Don, is that it's town property, but the contractor probably doesn't want anyone in their work area. So that really, the town manager would have to talk to the contractor to find out. Does it need maintenance right now?
No,
I'm sure it does.
it's conceivable this project could go on for many months, depending on how the utilities are, the utility companies answer the call for relocation.
I think they're thinking October, going into October.
I was by there the other day, and as they were doing the vacuuming out one of the culverts, comment was that there's asphalt pieces down in there. It may need some serious reworking.
All right. That is a big TBD.
Yeah.
Triangle Garden. What would we like to say here? Work with our community partner.
And, you know, at one time.
So annually, we're going to go ahead, Nancy.
Well, at one time we were going to, you know, put little plaques or something to designate, you know, this garden is made, or thanks to these people, or something, recognizing who is putting the time and the effort, because there's quite a few women down there working on that. They've put in a lot of work on it. Just being able to recognize our volunteers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there any need to rebuild or reinforce the railroad ties around the Triangle Garden? Is that
I don't know the answer to that, Jay. I haven't.
okay?
I saw them putting it down, but I did not notice if they were putting those together. But if you want to check on that and send me a note, I can add it to this list if necessary.
All right, I'll make a note on that. Thank you. That's on me.
Okay, does this make sense what I put here to make sure we have our paperwork looked at annually for that agreement and that we do a plaque of that partnership, which just made me think of other places that that's a possibility. Because typically we have an individual who does the whiskey barrels every year too. So moving on to Pool Park. um, Specifics about this park.
Well, the little playground is very, very sad. It really needs more mulch or something
Yes.
underneath the swings. It would never pass a preschool inspection, state inspection.
Mhm.
And then
It's-
just checking and making sure that the screws are for the swings are tight and everything is, some kid's not going to fall off and get hurt.
Normally there's landscaping cloth underneath the swings to hold the mulch in place, and that's dug down probably a foot below that. It really needs to get clean up.
Okay.
We were coming down from the Sky Space on Saturday with my sister and her husband, and we were walking by, and one of the basketball goals had been ripped off of the post. So I guess inspecting, maintaining, or just seeing how the basketball goals.
Tennis court as well.
All right. So I have the fitness court, tennis court, basketball court, playground equipment. Say the welcome center conditions. Again, are basically the main things in Gazebo Park will get repeated down at Pool Park.
Mhm.
So these are things specific to that park. Are there any other?
Walk
I
bridge,
can't think of.
maintenance on the walk bridge.
And the picnic tables.
There's the fenced area around the pool. That needs to be maintained.
That's a year. That's staining. It is a yearly thing, but
Well, yeah, not
applied there.
not only the fence, but inside the fence, there's 2 maintenance areas, and has grass, and normally that's just grows up. It's not touched, but it needs to be, because right now the pool cover is out there.
while we're thinking about this park, I'm going to mention that I was recently approached by someone who would like to donate having some trees and shrubbery and installed there at that park, along with upgrading the irrigation system that would maintain the new plantings.
Mm.
So I'll be working up that plan and bringing it forth to PRT sometime soon. It's on my list. It's nice. I think the fitness court has created some new awareness around the condition of the park and that it's so activated. And I think it's a place where every little improvement that we can make, including, I think that of making the playground equipment in the area around it safer, more attractive. We don't have to spend a lot of money to get that done.
I agree. I feel like the fitness court has revitalized that park. It's the beginning step.
Anything else specific to that park?
One thing that is present, I know in Pool Park right now, there's a pile of branches on the backside. That's a general characteristic that probably should be reflected in some of the others. Remove branches, remove trimmed branches. Yeah, that's good. Debris removal. I'll take a photograph of that tomorrow and just pass that on as an example of, come on, guys.
Yeah, I think we all, photo required.
Mhm.
I think we all have seen that for a while and question why it's there, but I'm going to add it to my Becky list.
Good.
So it would appear that everything else is trail related. So why don't we in general say what we'd like to do with the trailheads and then go back and see if there's specifics at any of these locations.
Mhm.
So is it my imagination or do we have dog waste receptacles at every trailhead?
They're not at every trailhead, but they're on the way to several of the trailheads. There are there's one on Hondo Avenue before you come to the top. There's one at the Forest Trailhead off of Hondo. I don't believe there are any on Belvedere.
Yeah, there's
There
two.
are.
There's
There
two.
are two lower on, but aren't they lower on Belvedere?
There's one right at Iona in Belvedere. And then there's one at the end of Belvedere.
Okay, that one I'd missed. That's about the only place that I would recognize it. So I missed that. Sorry.
Is there one up at Mount Dewey?
No.
But I know there's one on Boulder, up at the Boulder Trailhead.
The connector trail to Crystal or Thomas.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, right as you
Yeah,
up at the end of Boulder Street. Yes.
Yes. But I don't believe there's one on Dewey. Don, you're up there more often than either of us, but I don't think there's anything on the way there.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so either.
At one point, I thought the former sheriff, our former marshal, I forget his name now, was doing the removal. I know he placed a lot of those, but do you know who had been empty?
Joe Olds is doing it now.
Go old.
And
Yeah.
he is also stocking. He's doing it all out of his pocket. Totally volunteer, and he's it's his money that's paying for the garbage bags, and he brings it back to his house and has the trash pick it up. So
I had a report that Public Works was picking it up just the other day.
That's almost that sounds like something that one might ask the maintenance people, hey, have you been working on this? What's happening?
Yeah, and that was my understanding, was that Public Works was supposed to pick up the waste, and that Mr. Olds had been taking care of the stations, but I think it'd be good to clarify that. So generally at trailheads and entrances of trails,
I would dearly, dearly, dearly love to have a trailhead up at Catamount trailhead up by the waterfall, because past 2 weekends I've had trail ambassadors tell me I've had people just make that loop. They totally miss that trailhead for some reason. I know this is probably not part of this discussion, but it really, really needs a trailhead. It's interesting that they miss it, because they just want to go down the road. They just want to follow the road. They don't want to go up where a big old tree and rocks are. They don't think that looks like a trailhead.
Nancy, have you seen the new trailhead at Dewey, Mount Dewey?
I've been up the Stairway to Heaven, but I haven't been to the extended Stairway to Heaven. So
It's I finished it up yesterday, so you should go by and look at it, see if that's something you like or would envision for Catamount.
perfect.
The only thing it doesn't have that needs, and I think I pass this on to Rocco to pass to Jesse, but since he's here, it needs Dewey Mountain, or excuse me, Mount Dewey trail sign on the trailhead sign.
on my list.
Well, the trailhead sign itself, it's a very nicely made sign out of some composite material that looks routed. So it's the old style. So if you could get something like that that says Mount Dewey Trail on it, that tops it off.
So let me make sure I'm understanding. At the Welcome Center trailhead, there's the little brown board at the top that says Welcome Center that's routed out, and Mount Dewey needs that same detail.
Yeah.
Okay. When someone is up there next, if they would email me the width that needs to be, then I can order those.
I can do
I
that.
don't think it's standard. Okay, thank you.
You can decide on the font size and all that stuff, but I think it needs to be on there somewhere.
Yeah, I think we did that one for the Welcome Center now with Red Butte East and West, and it's a nice standardization.
It is.
And we probably need the same thing at the HB Wallace trailhead. Those are easy for me to get done because those are my work product.
I don't know if we want to add to this list just the physical inspection of a trail. Of course, it has to be someone who is, has knowledge of, like, if erosion is taking place on a trail and how to fix that, or, if the tread needs to be reworked or something like that, the corridor needs to be cleared. But that is basically what you're going to get from a specific group versus, but it is something we could put on the list, because it is something that, that's how you maintain the trails, is by doing an inspection first.
Yeah. And just putting that hook on there sets the requirement that, okay, trails group, friends, if you're going to do this, you have to make a yearly follow-up with us.
Does that read okay?
Yes, good. That'll be exactly what needs to happen.
I guess I don't understand what you were suggesting, Jay. Is this an inspection in addition to friends?
Well, it would be that it's just saying that the forensic inspection should be factored in. Just flagging it.
Yeah. I do think it is an additional inspection outside of Friends Group, even though we're all, or many of us are tied into both places. It's like any other contractor, we need to be checking their work. And we probably need to have as the PRT's own responsibility to check the condition and maybe help prioritize or make suggestions or make the Friends Group aware of things that we see and not be totally reliant on.
We can do that because we've got the people with expertise.
If I take away the part that a lot of us are the same people, then we would do that to any contractor. So let's put it on our.
Right. And if we're setting standards for the contractor that does the maintenance, we should also set standards for the group that does those inspections, does those reviews of trails, spends money on those reviews, just to make sure that there's an even playing field.
Yeah, agreed.
Agreed.
So then this grouping basically is for all trailheads and routes to trails. Talked about the trails. Is there anything specific at Mountain Road Corner welcome area? We have signage there that needs to be checked. What about MacArthur Park on Iona? I don't know. I think I know. Is that beside my friend Jordy's house?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, well, actually across the street, but yes. I don't know the history of that, Jesse. I just know there is someone who maintains it, puts Christmas decorations. So I think we just need to see who knows who is sort of taking care of that.
Yeah. And I'll take this opportunity to mention that as far as our memorials and history project of listing those inventories, Kia Ely has agreed to, basically I'm going to form a subcommittee. She's going to help on that. Margaret Peterson has asked to help on that. Judy Laughlin-Weidner, Judy Perkins, and Chris Frandina. So between those five, I don't, there's a stone in Green Mountain Fall that they don't know about. And if we talk together, I think that group can knock it out.
Perfect. Maybe they can figure out who's taking care of that park too.
Yes, and that's exactly, I will ask a question. What about Angels Trail?
I don't think there's anything that needs to be added specifically for that.
Okay, what about Forest Park?
I'm not sure what Forest Park is. I thought that was Garden of Eden.
Are those the same?
Yes. Yeah, I think the master plan calls it Forest Park. So nobody knows what that is, but I decided to say Garden of Eden Park.
At that one, what else?
That, you know, it has Steve's Bridge. Oh, you have the bridge. It's invasive weeds, a lot of invasive weeds, but you have that up above on the other one, so. You know, something else on trails and trailheads is making sure the signage, the things that are painted yellow and blue, making sure that those are maintained also. It'd be wonderful when we could get to the point to have signage like up on Red Butte and being able to, like Dawn says, show the destination versus just a yellow bottom of an orange can painted, you know, yellow or blue.
Yeah.
But we really need to just inspect that also, and making sure they're at eye level. Trees grow, so if they're on a tree and it's grown a little bit, it's going to be higher than eye level.
I'm adding all that into this line.
Perfect, thank you.
I will tell you that my next step for the signage at Red Butte. So we now have the 6x6 posts. We have the brown tiles indicating the names of the trails. And instead of having dots to color specify those trails, we're going to take the color of the trail on the map, say red for Pittman as an example, and do a red 1 inch by 6 inch tile that goes under the sign that says Pittman Trail. So we'll start to see color coding done in a different way that makes more sense on those posts.
Awesome, can't wait to see it.
What do you guys think about that before I do it?
No, that would be great, Jesse. The marks on that trail, the signage works really, really well. And it is better than a simple dot.
And if you can get a QR code on there that has the trail map, golden.
And that is also happening. Yes. It's nice to have a guinea pig project at the moment that we can work towards standardizing to.
We appreciate that.
For that to be effective, I really need your input on what I'm doing over there.
Yeah.
Not that you haven't freely given it, Don Walker.
So one challenge in when you have an intersection on the Pittman Trail is how you communicate that there's an intersection when the trail doesn't start at the trailhead. So it's a challenge, but you know, it's like a road map. And so you have to, I've got my own ideas on how that's accomplished, but so if you're following the red dots and you want to know where the blue dots are, it should tell you at the trailhead, you know, that the spur trail, that the Sky Space Spur Trail is at the intersection of the Pittman Trail and the saddle of the Pittman Trail or something. You follow where I'm going with this. If they're looking for a trail that's not identified at the trailhead, it causes problems.
Mm.
So like Mount Dewey, it's like, I'm looking for Bratton. Where's Bratton? This is not, and they don't know that they have to cross over Mount Dewey to get to Bratton. So there should be something ultimately on the trailhead sign of Mount Dewey that says via Bratton.
Bratton via Mount Dewey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bratton.
Let's work on that because that has been giving me troubles. Not at Dewey so much as at Pittman.
So at the trailhead sign, you should identify the other intersections that are on your trail system, so people will know they have to go over the Pittman Trail to get to the Sky Space Trail.
Right. So I have 5% battery left on my laptop. I didn't bring any cords to charge it because I'm on vacation.
Meeting's over.
We did talk about Jay, and I will email this out. I'll email this out to everyone. And so, Nancy, if you wouldn't mind taking a look at what could be accomplished out of these on community work days.
Okay.
And then, Jay, if you might think about what should be assigned to, what we might suggest be assigned to a contractor versus public works versus community work day.
Sure.
And then I will go through and try to assign, there's not many things that need a monetary assignment, but there's a few. So I'll work on that. Unless you want to do that, Ron, I don't care. I don't want to leave you guys off the list of things, of people working on this project.
You don't want to give anybody a free pass. Yeah, I think we have some stuff we can do, and I think in terms of each of us is going to offer suggestions, and we're likely to overlap those suggestions because we're all around the same stuff. But if we start from this list, highlighting things that need to happen, we will fill in some details.
Okay.
Jesse,
So
when do you
if-
want this by the next PRT meeting? Or are we going to have another workshop or?
So I would like to see, our next PRT meeting is
Next week?
10 days away.
No, 10
right?
days. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you give them to me there? Let's talk through those two things there, and then I'll redraft everything, and we'll have. I'll just assume now that we're going to have 2 PRT meetings in August, so that we can finalize this one, so that it's ready to go to Board of Trustees September.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So you want Jay and I to give you information before the PRT meeting so you can make the list a little bit more? Is that what you're asking?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
And I will try to get it added by then. I'm not going to make promises because I have a lot.
You
of
could always
places
give
to
it.
be in the next 10 days.
You could always give it to the secretary.
I may call on the secretary and say I need help,
I'm here.
or I'll call on Ron and say, "Here's your last minute assignment, Ron."
Fine with me.
Yeah, Ron, if as I learned with the Friends, if you show up late, you wind up with most
With
painful
everything.
job.
Yep.
There is always some voluntolding happening here.
I think what would be helpful for me is to, once you guys go through and kind of refine this and take things off that are going to be by others and see what's left, I can target things a little bit more accurately.
One thing to ask Jesse, if we're going to work on these things in parallel, we will send commentary to you, but we've got to avoid the sunshine, we've got to be compliant with the sunshine laws. So we
Yeah.
can't share them prior to the meeting. Is that correct?
No, you
Correct.
can you can share something directly with Jesse. You just
Yeah.
can't share
Yeah.
it with the entire committee.
That's what I meant. We can't share across,
Right,
across the
Yeah.
group.
So,
correct.
so you'll send it to me. I will add it and organize this list with that information. Then we can review it in total at our next meeting.
Okay.
Perfect.
Great workshop, guys.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank
Okay.
you, Jesse.
Have fun.
Yeah, Jesse, as long as you're on vacation, you should be headed for a drink right about now.
There's one at the door, like teasing me.
Have fun. See you later.
Okay, I'm gonna adjourn us at 5:19. Thank you so much, guys.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Bye.
Excellent.